Hello, everyone. This is Chitika,
Hi everyone, this is Selena.
and welcome to the third series of Working Knowledge. We're kickstarting our new set of episodes today, and we're going to be learning about and thinking about, obviously, talking about technology,
Woohoo!
which is really broad. But you'll see where we're heading in the next few weeks. So we're going to start by just catching up since well, Selena, you have a bit of you have much more actually of a foot in the tech
I
world,
wouldn't say
so
I
to
have a
speak.
lot, but I have a maybe a more understanding than like a normal, not a normal, but like an average
Yeah,
human. Yeah.
maybe. Or at least I was gonna say than me.
Oh,
That's
well,
just where I
sure,
was
sure.
going. So,
You're
yeah,
much
but
more than the
I
average
think
human, though.
fair enough.
Yeah.
We'll see. I
Uh,
suppose we'll find out. But I'm excited. I think there's a lot of unless you major in something tech focused, you
mm-hmm.
know things. Or everybody kind of talks about it because it's so pervasive. But it'll be exciting to dive in and try to properly,
Yeah.
understand something. So I'm excited. And also, well, you guys may or may not notice because you could just be tuning into our typical streaming platform, but we also are releasing, what are they called? Like
Video
vlogs, video episodes.
podcasts, video versions of the podcast. Yeah, I mean, it's the series is about technology, and we thought we would like expand our streaming platforms, quote unquote.
Yeah.
So you may or may not be seeing this on YouTube as well if you're interested in watching us. I have to be like super conscious that I'm being watched now.
Yeah, me
So
too. I We don't normally smile this much, just
yeah,
or we do. I guess you wouldn't
maybe
know,
it'll like
but now you will.
improve. Maybe the video will improve our tone because I think like sometimes we can sound a little or feel a little dead. Not that
Yeah.
we are, but that's just our personalities. So.
Sorry, that hand was me fanning my coffee. There was like a little fly, and I'm very aware of my movements. Anyway,
I know. I wish I could hide my self view, but it's like recording my screen. So, um,
right, right.
yeah. Anyways,
Anywho, today we're gonna get into the Internet of Things. So, Selena, do you want to take it away? What do you know? I feel like it's one of those things that everyone hears about a lot, but I'm curious to
yeah.
know where you
I mean, I think
where you're coming into this.
I don't know about you, but I think the basic understanding of what, quote, the Internet of Things is like it's a interconnected pool of data from sensors or data from like sensors or objects that are connected like through a network. So that can be like honestly now it's like everything that we have, right? It's like
Mhm.
your nest in your home, like your thermostat. It could be like your Roomba. It could be I don't even know what's internety in my room. Your Google Home or like your
Apparently, your coffee
Alexa.
maker too.
Oh yeah, your coffee maker. My stove. We just got a new stove and it can connect to your phone. Yeah, it's anything really that can be interconnected. And yeah, that's my understanding of it.
Yeah. Well, what I read, this is an older article, but this one tech blogger explained it as like if it has an on-off switch, it can probably connect to the internet,
Mm-hmm.
but
Yeah.
which is it seems ridiculous because I'm looking around and I'm like, well, everything here has an on-off switch. Like, can my kettle connect to the internet?
It
Which
could.
I think the
Yeah.
answer is supposed to be yes. So,
Yeah. I think it's like
um,
it can connect, and that's what a lot of products nowadays are. Like they're
mhm,
coming up with new ways to like connect to your phone or connect to because that's
right,
like the big thing now.
right.
It's like control everything from your phone, control your temperature of your house or your locks or oh we got like a our house has like a ring security system and like that connects to your phone, blah blah blah, all that kind of stuff. So
Hmm. It's pretty cool. Well, I think it's the curious thing to me is understanding somehow that basic concept of things are connected to each other is pretty simple, at least now. I remember when it was just starting to be kind of a thing, it
mm-hmm.
was harder to understand that there might be a need for your stove and your mobile phone to talk to each other.
Mm-hmm.
Talk. But somehow now it makes sense, I think, because we're more and more used to that kind of information
Yeah.
sharing where like all our devices are synced, you know? So
Yeah.
I still remember when like one phone had like one set of photos and like or contacts. You had to like go to your old phone to like
Yeah.
pick out
Yeah.
someone's phone number. And now that's just not even a thing. Like you never don't have someone's contact information if you have it in one of your, you know,
Devices. Yeah.
devices. So that's I
Yeah.
sound so old,
Well, the thing is like it's weird because we're part of the generation that like had both, right? What are we,
right?
Gen Z? Like the beginning of Gen Z
Think
slash end of
we're what
millennials.
what is it? Zillennials? Is that a word?
Yeah,
I
something
think I've
like
read
that.
that
But
somewhere,
we're
but
like right in the in between where we had that when we were kids at least we were aware that, you know, these things didn't exist and then we grew into them.
yeah,
Which I guess means that we had a hand in their like development too, but that's another story. That's another topic. Um
yeah.
yeah.
I think it means that we all started with flip phones, and then we came to whatever we have now.
Mhm.
That's so funny. My first phone was like a sliding Nokia.
Mine was a flip phone too. I don't remember what it was. What kind of flip
I don't know
phone?
about what happened here, but in when I was in middle school, like the Motorola was really famous,
Yeah.
and then there was like a Sony Ericsson Music,
I don't
which
remember the
like
names of them, but
it
yeah.
had so they had like play buttons on the side, you know, where you have the volume control now.
Mhm.
It had like a play and pause button, so it was basically an iPod that was also fun
Oh,
because you
for
didn't have to like
music?
go into your phone, yeah, to turn your
Yeah.
music off.
I still have like my iPod. I had like one of the original OG iPods and then
Mm.
we gave it to my cousin for some reason. And then I have like an iPod Nano somewhere in the back of my bookcase.
Yeah,
Um
I have a shuffle somewhere in Kuwait,
mm,
a
wow.
red one. It's
Oh, and I
limited
have like
series.
the first iPod Touch too. Oh,
Ah,
yeah.
that's fun. Wasn't it iTouch? They took it back,
It
the
was it? I
name.
don't remember.
I don't know. I think that was a joke.
That was
Um,
the first thing that I bought when I like because I had like a job in fast food as my first job and that was the first thing that I bought with my own money. So I was very proud of
oh,
that. Yeah.
how self-sufficient.
I know. I know. Now look at me.
You're an entrepreneur. You have a podcast. You have an Etsy store. I don't know why the
Mhm.
word took so long. Anyway,
Yeah.
back to technology. Well,
Yeah.
I
I
was gonna
mean, I
say back
think
to technology, but
we're
even
on
the
technology.
podcast and Etsy store are so like, yeah,
Technologically,
right?
yeah. Internet of Things. I don't even
Oh
know.
man,
Yeah.
is there one?
So, I don't know. Let's see. Wikipedia, which we are a fan of on this podcast, describes the network of physical objects, quote unquote things, that are embedded with sensors, software, and other technologies for the purpose of connecting and exchanging data with other devices and systems over the internet. So yeah, we're pretty on the nose.
Well, it's a hard definition to get wrong, right? Because
Yeah.
basically, I'm gonna sound so cheesy. It's the Internet of Things, so it's just the internet, except there's things in
Yeah,
it.
there's
So
things.
if you understand the and people, I mean, I also you understand the internet as like it's the network of everybody's connected,
Mhm.
but
But now it's
the
like devices are
implications,
connected.
yeah, but the implications of that are I think more difficult to think about because it's like okay, I understand that like some things I find easier to make like sense of that
Sure.
if you're like AC or your home security system or even your like coffee maker is connected to your phone, you can just be like turn coffee on or like you can set an alarm for like you know you can sync your alarm with your coffee or something like that
Mhm.
like so that when you turn off your snooze and you're presumably awake your coffee
Mhm.
maker starts. Now I'm just painting my dream life, but
I
that's a
was just going
different
to say
thing.
that's something that you would love to have. Um
Yeah, like
if it
maybe
does,
something like
I'm sure it exists, right?
if there has to be well by the time I'm like old enough and wealthy enough to purchase all those things it'll exist, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But what I would love is for there to be like a sensor in if my bathroom if my shower was connected to the internet and it knew like when I was done taking a shower and like maybe the for additional accuracy the bath mat like the one outside the tub has a sensor so when I step on it it's like she's out of the shower and then
Uh-huh.
it tells my coffee maker and my toaster to get going
Wow. So
so that by the
efficient.
time I like yeah so I like like dry off and whatever, and then like my breakfast
Mm-hmm.
is ready.
See, that's so interesting because, like, I guess, like, the idea of the Internet of Things, or like just the internet allowing these things to happen, it's developed like an entirely new, like, technological field, right? Like, you would never think when we were in middle school and had like flip phones and stuff, you would never think that like your toaster could respond to a like a giant phone in your house. Although, I mean, obviously now it's
Mm-hmm.
like cell phones. So like now in the consumer market, like I feel like there's so many more opportunities for entrepreneurs to make things. Um, like they can do whatever they want. Like what you just said, I'm sure someone will make or has already made.
Someone's got to do it,
Yeah, I know.
even if I'm their entire market.
I mean, like I can control my oven from my phone. Well, I didn't connect it to my phone. My dad did connected it
Have
to
you
his
used
phone.
it? Have you tried the
Um,
phone?
he's turned off my oven before, and I was like, I'm using the oven.
Ah, so there are complications
It
too.
can, yeah, complications.
But do you guys like use it at home as like,
No,
does it
no.
really save you? Okay.
The thing is like I would never, I can't think of myself in like a situation where like I would need to use that. I guess if it was
Mm.
like if I like put something in my oven for later to bake, I could do that. Like if I
Or
was
you
away
could
from
like put
home.
something in and
Yeah.
then leave, and then you
Yeah.
could just turn it off.
Yeah, that's
Like
what
you
I
could
mean.
monitor it. Oh, I thought or you could
Oh,
do the reverse. You could,
I was doing it the other way. Yeah, but same idea. But then the problem
yeah.
with that is then wouldn't it like spoil in the oven
I
or
assume you don't want to leave it in there like overnight.
yeah, I don't know.
But maybe there's a way for like, because there's a machine learning element to all this too, right? So I'm like trying to
Yeah.
understand how that works. Because maybe your oven can tell. This episode is not how I envisioned doing this, but this is the best way to do this, is to just come up with ways that
Uh-huh.
the Internet of Things would exist in our lives. But what if your oven or your fridge can tell when your food is like going bad, and it like
Mm.
changes the temperature or climate control settings to keep your food like
Yeah.
last,
I
make your
mean,
food last. That was not English.
refrigerators are close-ish to that, where they have like cameras inside, and you can basically like uh, what is it? Like see what's inside your fridge, like from not when you're not at home. Um,
Oh.
and my fridge, because we got like all new appliances recently, so that's why I'm talking about it. My fridge, like we got it's I think it's a Samsung fridge, and they have like this screen on the front. Um,
Samsung.
yeah, and they can scan. They like have a camera inside. I don't know where the camera is, but they have the camera inside, and you can see your fridge inside without opening the fridge. And they like scan items on your fridge. So sometimes I'll like come up to my fridge and I'll say like X items have been scanned: lemon, pasta, milk. Would you like to add these to your like grocery list or like to your whatever the word is? And I was like, that's so creepy. And it can like read and I don't know. It read like a little can of like tuna that we like give our dog. We've scanned like a can of tuna in your fridge. Um, and then they'll like
Interesting.
recommend you recipes depending on what's in your fridge. And they just like know that. Not that I use any of
Wow.
these things, but I think it's interesting. So yeah, there's
Well,
an element of machine learning to it.
that's pretty cool. I know we're
Yeah.
talking about like who would use these things, so I'm like looking through, our links as we go, but I didn't think of like elder care as
Mm-hmm.
being a big bonus, because I know we're
Yeah.
sitting like, why would you want to turn your oven on from your bedroom? But if you have like a mobility issue or
Yeah. It
live
is a big
alone, or
accessibility thing.
yeah, yeah. I think that's very that makes a lot of sense, actually, to put it that way. But I wonder what like larger scale implications are, because I know, well, we actually haven't talked about this, but and we can come back to smart homes, but that is like what I think of when somebody mentions the Internet of Things, right? Like you
Mm-hmm.
also mentioned the sort of lock system, the AC, because we talked about it in one of our classes too, right? Like Vivian was she talked about like how you can control your like temperature settings,
Mm-hmm.
and how that's like a really easy way to make your energy usage more like efficient.
Mm-hmm. Like setback
Um,
thermometer or thermostats or like
Yeah.
I guess a Nest is like a good example of one too.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
yeah, but I mean it also like Internet of Things also expands way past like smart homes, right?
Yeah.
Nowadays, I mean, technology has been pervasive in all of our lives. So now there's things like medical technologies that are connected to each other, transportation, automation, like manufacturing. That's a really big one that not a lot of people think about, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like I know in terms of transportation, there's a big, this is also coming from like watching too much like crime TV shows, but um there's always like a, it's not, I don't know if it's happened before. There was this really great episode of some show I was watching where like some person was like hacking into people's cars. But now I just have like a
Hacking into people's
disproportionate,
cars.
yeah, because they're like the cars are,
Oh,
connected to the
programmable.
internet. I'm
Yeah.
doing this with my hands. But yeah, I mean, a friend of
No,
mine
it's
was like, that
definitely
never
doable
happens. But I think
if you
in
tried
theory it's
hard enough.
doable.
Yeah,
But where I'm
anything's doable.
going with that is like transportation is also
Mhm.
one of those things that like happens at a big scale that
Yeah.
can be part of the Internet of Things.
I mean,
Like
just
I'm
think
looking,
about like electric cars, or I mean, that's like not necessarily related to the internet, but a lot of these cars do have like some connection to something.
mm, mm,
And
mm,
like
mm,
a big thing about cars nowadays that they're selling as like a feature is like in-house Wi-Fi, in-car Wi-Fi, or
in-car Wi-Fi.
yeah, and that's like a big thing. I see all these ads for it, and I'm like, oh, we didn't
It's
need
pretty,
internet.
yeah, like I've been in those cars and
Oh, really? I've never been in a car that has internet before.
oh yeah, yeah. Well, somebody I know has that like a in-car Wi-Fi, and it just made us like we were on a road trip, but like nobody was doing anything except
Mm.
being on the internet. It's only
Yeah, that's the
useful for like
problem.
music, but then you can also totally do like music without having in-car Wi-Fi.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can make it work, but
I
if
guess like
everyone in the car has Wi-Fi, then nobody's chatting to. I get motion sick like if I'm
yeah,
on my phone in a car, so
me
I'm
too.
immune to the in-car Wi-Fi, but
Yeah, I see that. I guess I don't know. There's like all these like ethical dilemmas with the use of
mm,
internet, and we'll talk about that at another time.
yeah, we'll come
um,
there.
yeah, we'll get there. But yeah, it's
Well,
interesting.
speaking of cars, I know there's, who was talking to me about this? Apparently there's like you can have, like self-parking cars, and then cars
Mm-hmm.
will like you come out of the mall with your shopping, which actually we won't be able to do till 2025. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
But hypothetically, you come out of the mall with your shopping and then you tell your phone, beep, I want my car.
Oh,
And
that's
then
a
your
Tesla.
car will
Yeah,
like,
it's like I forget
oh,
what
Tesla
the
does that? Never
yeah, that's
mind.
the Tesla that does that. I forget the like the term for it, but yeah, it is like you can connect your um well, you would connect your phone to your Tesla and then like call your Tesla and it would like come to you out of the parking lot like a dog.
It makes me think of like the Batmobile
I
or any
mean,
super, no,
yeah.
not that. Sorry, the Incredimobile.
Oh,
The Incredibles car.
what is it called?
Incredibile?
I don't know. I love that movie, but yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. If you've seen the second one, there's a really good scene with the car.
Mm-hmm. Great movie.
Hmm. But there's something called like V2X communication, apparently. That means
What's
like vehicle to everything.
Oh.
It's the
Mm.
passing of information from a vehicle to any entity that may affect the vehicle and vice versa. So like you can have V to I, V to N, V to N,
What's N?
sorry, network. I
Oh,
is
okay.
infrastructure. V to V is vehicle to vehicle. V to
Mm-hmm.
P is vehicle to pedestrian. Vehicle to device. Vehicle to grid. Whoa,
Oh.
we're getting into the big one, our
Into the
fun
big
one.
one.
Anyway, I can see it. Yeah. The U.S. NH, some acronym, I don't know, national something something people estimates a minimum of 13% reduction in traffic accidents if a
Mm-hmm.
V2V system were implemented. Oh,
Yeah.
this is literally smart cities. Okay,
Yeah. We'll get to
that makes
that
sense.
next
We'll come
episode.
there. But it's so cool how like all of this just kind of explodes into, like all the other
Yeah.
things.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those, I think that's the freaky thing about not to sound like a complete noob, but that's the thing about tech where like once you once you start at one scale, then it just has implications for every other scale. And then
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of like if somebody says, right, like, oh, I mean, I'm assuming somebody that was actually in tech would never say this. But if somebody came up to me and was like, oh yeah, like I work in the Internet of Things, I'd just be
Mm-hmm.
like, what part?
What part of it? There's too many parts.
What does that mean?
Yeah. It can be anything from like it really can be anything. Like manufacturers using like sensors to make things or like farming. Like nowadays farming isn't even like those tractors and those whatever you call them. They're not even driven by anybody. They're driven by computers,
That's so
which is crazy.
interesting.
So, oh, my
Not to sound,
computer's fan turned on, so apologies for that audio.
oh, is that what it is? I was gonna,
Yeah,
is it me? I feel like something's tinny on my end.
I think it's okay.
Okay, we'll find out. Sorry, folks.
Yep.
Clearly, seeing as we titled potentially are titling this episode Internet of Things,
I
we're
hate that
not
word sometimes.
techies. What?
Yeah. I took a couple classes that like talked about I mean the whole idea of like HCI, human computer interaction. That's basically it's really related to Internet of Things, and I think sometimes it's more like internety than things, but the same idea applies, like you making something that relates to humans, and
Right.
oftentimes that relates to a product. So,
Well, that's a cool way to think about it. Like, some things can be more internety and some things can be more thingy.
yeah.
But like entrepreneurs are probably, or like product designer people, manufacturers are all concerned with like things as
Mhm.
opposed to the internet. And like a true, not true, like a maybe like a more like back end person would be like the internet person.
Mhm.
Oh, I just had a little, sorry. I'm like just catching up. So I'm like, oh, well, that makes a lot of sense. I'm
Yeah,
always
it
trying to
does.
understand, uh, always trying to understand people in tech.
Yeah,
It's not a,
Chitika and I had a long conversation about this.
that's not a bad thing at all.
No,
I
no,
think
no,
it's
of course
like
not.
I have a lot of like high occurrence of that like population in my personal life,
Mhm.
and I feel like
Same.
I'm missing a key like understanding of like them as people. So this entire series is me just trying to figure out my
Yeah.
friends.
No, I get that because I mean like I think in a way like this is nothing against either like internety person or like thing person or either in between. It's nothing against them, but like it's almost like if you're in the internet of things, like you're making like a product that like is a internet of things product, it almost like makes it more concrete, like this is what you're working on, right?
Mm,
Or this is what you're making, like this is what your new product is like. But if you're saying like I code and like I make a product online, it's almost harder to wrap your mind around, right? Because
sure.
it's not real, it's not like physical.
Yeah, yeah,
um
yeah.
or it doesn't like maybe it sometimes does, but it doesn't always like have a real life effect that you can
Right.
like hold or is tangible. So
Right. It
I
does,
get
or it
what you
doesn't
mean.
always like click for another person who doesn't do
Yeah.
that to
Yeah.
understand like what exactly you're doing. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's always been like a question
Mhm.
mark beyond a certain scale. But this is, it's interesting. Like I think it's so now that I've painted my picture of like my bath mat activating my coffee maker, I'm very excited for this to be a thing.
Yeah.
Um, but obviously, like with any, I mean, that's also such a like big talking point within tech and always has been, but feels more and more like urgent
Mhm.
now is the privacy concerns, right?
Oh yeah,
Like that's always
that's another issue or
yeah, yeah, yeah. But
with
like
Internet of Things.
within Internet of Things, like, oh yeah, oh, that's where you were going.
Yeah,
We're on
yeah,
the
yeah.
same page.
Sorry.
I
I
thought you
couldn't
were
think
gonna
of the
say
word.
that's like a whole
It is a
other
whole other
beast,
issue,
which
but
it is. Yeah, yeah.
especially in Internet of Things, I think that's an
Right.
issue.
Well, this
Yeah.
is, I'm not completely like, I don't know if this is accurate, but like is, are those all those stories about like someone's Alexa like recorded someone's conversation? Is that's like part of this, right?
Yeah, that is
It has
because
to be.
I mean all these like Alexas or Google Homes, that is considered a product that is connected to the internet, so that's considered an
Mm-mm.
Internet of Things product.
Yeah. It's
So
always terrifying. Well, it's
yeah.
like people always made those jokes where like now we're like blurring the boundaries we created for ourselves episode wise, but
Yeah.
um you always have like you were talking to your friend about like, oh, I like really want like a cute summer dress. And then
Mhm.
later that evening you open your Facebook or like your any like thing on your phone
Mhm.
and you have suggestions for like cute
Mhm.
summer dresses and you're like,
How did they know?
huh.
Interesting.
I know
Yeah.
people who've like tape, like they have tape on their laptop. I know one person, but I assume there are more like him. But he
Mhm.
had like a piece of duct tape or drafting
Over
tape
the
on his like
camera?
camera.
I
Yeah.
used to do that, but then I was like, I don't care enough, and I use my camera too often. So,
Well, it's also now it's just like I think that's like the whole Gen Z thing too, where like
mm-hmm.
people just are so primed in a way to be like what's the word? Like I don't know, watched, but like kept track of, like
Yeah,
you
it's
just
more we're
know
used to
that you
it
have a yeah,
kind of
you just
thing.
have an extremely giant like footprint and you're
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, everybody knows everything about me. Like this is it. I don't care. Or I do care, but I'm not gonna like I don't know how to do it. I don't know how
Yeah,
to cope with it. So I'm just
yeah.
gonna go. But there's always those memes that are like when you're there's like a whole series of memes related to like your FBI agent.
Or like your NSA agent or something like
Yeah, yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So
No,
like
it's funny.
presumably there's someone just sitting at a screen like watching you all day long, and then sometimes you or they there's
Yeah.
all these like funny memes about like them getting really invested in your life,
Mm-hmm.
um, or like
But in
learning.
reality, like, really, do they care? Yeah.
I highly doubt there's one person
No one's gonna
assigned
follow
to
me
every
around.
other person
Yeah.
on the planet. Like
I
it's
guess
not
the
what
problem
is it
is
called?
that
That's
it's
the word.
possible, for that to happen. It's not that it's like always happening. I guess that's what freaks people out.
Well, it wouldn't be like another human being. It would be like
An algorithm.
a this is how I this is
This is the
this is
algorithm.
algorithm. Yeah, it's like a digital virtual entity.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry.
I mean,
Um,
you're not wrong though. I mean, this goes in like you were saying, this blurs the lines between our episodes, but there is something watching us. It's not a person, it's an algorithm, but multiple algorithms.
yeah,
But that's how you get Internet of Things, right? Because like it allows you to be more efficient and it
yeah,
allows you to do stuff. I almost think of like I guess this is like the difference between internety and like thingy. But like I think that Internet of Things kind of came from like people who were making products and decided to integrate technology into them rather than the other way around. Although now that those lines have also been blurred. Um,
right.
but
But
it's
that
less
makes
it's yeah,
no finish what you were saying. Sorry.
it's less like scary, I think, the idea of that to me. I don't know. Maybe other people would disagree. Then I think they would think
I
that this
think
is more scary.
I guess it's like maybe because our scope of like how we see ourselves using this stuff
Mm-hmm.
is so like home scale. I guess that's what it is to me. I'm like, even if somebody looks at my coffee maker data and knows, like what is that gonna, I don't know. But
Mm-hmm.
maybe that's just like us being naive. There
Yeah,
is
it could be.
I think that's the I can see how not that the car hacking, now that's like another extreme, but there's an in between where like things are maybe it's just ultimately it's just what could happen.
Yeah,
It's kind of like
the
if all this
privacy
information, yeah,
implications, those
is so
kinds of
easily
things.
accessible. So I don't know. It's kind of ironic because people don't pick up the phone or answer the door or do those things as much anymore or like talk to random people on the street and
Mm-hmm.
in a way that like or you don't take lifts from strangers. There's like a whole since compared to like the 70s and 80s when like missing children were this like new
Yeah.
epidemic versus like now, not that it doesn't happen, but there's like a culture shift around stranger danger, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then we're within like it's almost like the closed wall, the like within closed walls, or like all of that concept doesn't like matter anymore because there's no real barriers to
That's true.
information, right?
Yeah.
Because like because of virtual
The
space.
internet.
Like, yeah, that was so poorly put on
No, I
my
know
end,
it.
but that's
Yeah,
crazy
it
when you
is
think about
crazy.
it. I don't know, like, cause we're like people with like we work in space, not like outer space, like spatial
We work in outer
design,
space. I would love to work in outer space.
right? But um, it's kind of crazy to think about the implications of something like that. Like, what does security mean now in like a physical sense?
Mm-hmm.
That now that like there's I don't know. I was sorry, I'm laughing because I'm thinking of a story. Like we used to back in my like back in my family home. I don't know, like back in Kuwait, right? When we were in high school, my brother
Mm-hmm.
and I, like this one end of the house always had trouble with Wi-Fi.
Mm-hmm. We have that too.
And sometimes just as like a because there was nothing else that would work, it was mostly placebo. So we would like open the window and it would but okay but it would work like the wi-fi would work better
That's
and
so
I was like
funny.
cracking up. I was like, that doesn't make a difference. And
It
someone was
maybe
like,
does. I don't know.
yeah, they were like, how do you know the wi-fi like wi-fi particles aren't like
The Wi-Fi
flying in through the
particles.
open window which is like I don't know, because it made a difference. With an open window my internet was better, so
Yeah.
maybe everyone just wants you to think that like walls don't make a difference, but they do. That's how you keep
Mm-hmm.
your neighbors from stealing your internet. But that's always like that's such a funny story to me. But coming back to this whole thing, like yeah, I know, and every episode we'll do, I think we'll like have to nod to the privacy and like data sharing
Yeah, that's
concerns.
always a never-ending topic,
Yeah,
I think.
yeah. It just sort of is the minute you make it, yeah, the minute you make things like easier to do, the like information sharing is at the core of any of that.
Hmm. And a lot
So
of companies or people who make these products, they don't have basic standards that are, connected to each other. So like maybe one company, or there's like no regulation, I guess. That's like another way of saying it, which is,
yeah,
again, we'll talk about hopefully later. Um,
yeah.
hmm.
Anyway, lots of cool stuff.
Yeah,
Um,
I think we're gonna end it there because we're
yeah.
gonna encroach on our other topics that we wanted to talk about next week and next. So
Next next weekend, end of this week,
yeah.
later this week.
Anyways,
So you'll
happy
hear from us
Tuesday.
soon. Happy Tuesday. Let us know what
um,
you think, and
and we'll
let's
also be releasing on Thursday again if you missed the last
yes.
episode when we announced
Mm-hmm,
that.
mm-hmm.
So for now, for the time being, we're gonna do 2 episodes a week. Hopefully that'll continue, but we're testing it out for now. Yeah,
Shorter and quicker. We're trying new
hopefully.
things. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah,
Tell us what you think. All
and
seven of you.
also if you're on the video, leave a comment or
Oh yeah.
something. Give us a thumbs up.
Like ask we can do one of those like all of you have been asking what I use for my eyebrows, and we can do like a pod. You know how you
Yeah, it's to
make up
to
people
fix the
do it like
focus.
that.
That's what they
Yeah,
do. Yeah.
I know, but I think it's so funny. Okay.
All right.
That's for another day. Maybe
Yeah.
another series.
All
Thanks for
right.
tuning in.
Thanks, guys. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.